All right, 1 Kings 21. Once again, let's call this one through the eyes of the prophets. Again, asking the question, mercy for what? This time through the story of Naboth's vineyard, as in this chapter. It follows on the heels of God really being within his rights to have killed Ahab for letting Ben-Hadad go. The part of the story we left off in the last discussion was it wasn't actually one of Ahab's servants that approached him with the question, I let a prisoner go, what should happen? It was actually a prophet disguising himself as one of Ahab's servants so that Ahab could basically condemn himself by being callous to the life of the servant, God setting the standard by which he would then judge Ahab for letting Ben-Hadad go. And so he does not kill Ahab right away, and he's actually going to allow Ahab to go home. And after a while, once the threat of death seems to have passed, Ahab isn't going to be quite as scared anymore, and he's going to go back to being Ahab. And at his home, he is going to get a chance to look around and see a vineyard owned by one of his neighbors. And he's going to see that that's a pretty nice vineyard, at least in his eyes. And so he's going to try to send folks over to make a deal with Naboth. He's going to say, I'll give you either a better vineyard for your property, or I'll pay you fair value, what we would call fair market value. But in Israel, inheritances were really important. Later on, we'll see that inheritances were the basis for people to always have a place to stay, even if they fell on hard times or went into exile. It was an eternal inheritance from God. And so what Naboth is essentially saying is money or another vineyard cannot replace me making sure my kids have a place to stay forever. So he's going to say no, but that's not going to be a safe answer, even though he is well within his rights. These are boundaries that he's been given from God. And so even though Naboth is within his rights to say no, Ahab is going to sulk, and Jezebel is going to see him sulking, ask him what's wrong, and he's going to say, Naboth won't sell me his vineyard, to which she's going to reply, really, you're the king of Israel. Go sulk, I'll take care of it. Which isn't safe because she's not safe. And so what she's going to do is essentially have Naboth killed by using Ahab's authority to basically set him up with the people of his town with the false accusation that he has cursed both God and the king, after which they are going to stone Naboth, and Ahab is going to be giddy again and go take his vineyard, at which point God is going to send Elijah back to Ahab. And as soon as he sees Elijah, Ahab is once again going to be like, it's you. With good reason this time, because he is going to bring the news that, look, whatever you thought you did in secret, God saw. And so as a result of you killing your neighbor for his property, God is now going to take it out on you. But this time, Ahab is going to do something that's seemingly out of character, and that's show open contrition for something that he's done wrong. Not because he's a great guy, but again, he's probably scared to die. And unlike the last time he was supposed to die for letting Ben-Hadad go, this seems a little bit more immediate. And so he is going to repent openly, and it is going to move God to show him mercy again. Again, though, raising the question, for what? What's Ahab going to do with it this time? Because we have now seen for the second consecutive time, when given an abundance of mercy for habitual sins, meaning sins he's committed over and over again, he's not willing to show the least bit of mercy to one of his servants. And so now even worse than that, it doesn't seem safe to show Ahab mercy because your property lines as his neighbor aren't even safe around Ahab once the fear of death is gone. And so God brings him back into the fear of death, hoping to get him to repent again, getting them to repent again, moving God to show Ahab mercy again before the last time in the last chapter of 2 Kings. As we turn to chapter 22 to see Ahab start a war with the king of Syria, we are again going to seem to be left with the question, mercy for what?